Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Welcome in, welcome in. Happy to have you guys on this Friday, I believe it is. Running a little behind today. I usually like to get on here about 7, 8 a.m., but I had a couple things to get done. As you guys know, I have some big announcements coming tomorrow, some huge things coming tomorrow. So I want you obviously to stay ready for that and kind of get prepared for that. But overall, look, I mean, things are looking pretty dang on good today. We have a rather strong market. We're looking at a pretty solid day in the altcoin market today, which isn't exactly what I expected, but we have started to see some news really developing over the last 24 hours. A very clear picture is being painted, a narrative is rather clear. And so because of that, now I want to kind of talk about what is going on. Now, in today's stream, what we're going to talk about a little bit is the fact that we are again seeing the altcoin market doing pretty dang on good. We're going to talk about why that is, what's leading the charge, and we're going to take a look at some charts and kind of just get an idea of how this market's moving. I do have a video coming for you all later talking about some economic data that did get released today that actually is pretty dang on good. So make sure that you do stay tuned for that. Don't forget on your way in to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy the stream. Don't subscribe now if you are new. Wait till the end of the stream. Make sure that you do like it before you do subscribe. I do appreciate it. Let's rock and roll, everybody. So with that in mind, what do we got today? So what we can see here is that the crypto market's looking pretty okay right now. Funnily enough, if you look at the 24-hour, on the CoinMarketCap top 10, I mean, not much is really happening, right? I mean, you look at Bitcoin's not really moving, Solana barely down, Dogecoin up a little bit. I mean, not a lot's going on. But whenever you do start to kind of zoom out a little bit onto the daily and you start to look at some of your more mid caps, you can really start to see that progress being made, right? We got Pepe jumping in right here at 10% gains, Dexy, Floki, LDO, Aave, and AR and INJ. I mean, so many of them absolutely smashing it. And a pretty good day. Now, quite frankly, is this the pump, right? Is this an altcoin season? No, it's not, guys. I mean, let's just look at the weekly. You can see what's going on. I mean, although there are some outperformers, right? OMs and JTOs and Jupes and stuff like that, the majority of the market and most of our portfolios are still down from the last month or so. So I don't want everybody just thinking, oh goodness, this is the moment, this is it. Everybody just buy everything you possibly can. But to say the least, it is a pretty decent moment here in the market. Now, overall, if we do look at the month, you can kind of see the same picture being painted. Axion obviously just kind of taking up all the space here, but the majority of the market's not looking fantastic. But what I will say is that what we're seeing today is very good. It is very good, to say the least. It is very good. And I'm starting to actually like what I'm seeing. Listen, I'm sure you read the title already, so you know where I'm going with this. I'm not a huge Ethereum fan. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I am just because it's doing well today, right? But at the end of the day, I've said it very consistently that Ethereum is a very important asset within the crypto space. And when you see Ethereum performing well, history says that the altcoin market's in a healthy place. And what we're actually seeing today, the reason why this market is moving so well is because we actually are starting to see the narrative behind Ethereum really picking up. And we're starting to really see that ETH concoction brew, right? Now, what do I mean by that? That's what you're probably wondering. What do I mean by that whenever it comes to Ethereum? Well, there's a couple things that are all playing a factor into ETH doing well recently. So let's kind of dive into a couple of them. So first and foremost, we see that World Liberty Financial, which is owned by Trump, obviously, has been absolutely just buying as much ETH seemingly as they possibly can, buying oftentimes $10 million worth of ETH every single day. It's absolutely nuts. You can see here, this is just from earlier today. World Liberty Financial has increased its Ethereum holdings to over 70,000 ETH, which is $235 million, after purchasing an additional 2,972 ETH for $10 million in USDT. Now, with that in mind, of course, you can kind of see like they're not just investing in everything, right? They have a little bit of wrapped Bitcoin. They have some TRX, not much, right? They're buying a lot of Ethereum. Now, this is kind of the first drop in the bucket. Like, this is the first thing that'll kind of make you start to scratch your head. Like, why are they doing that? Right now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know why, but what I will say is that if you have a financial group that is owned / supported by the president of the United States, I would assume they have some knowledge about something, right? Because there's all the assets in the world. There's all the crypto assets in the world that they could be buying. They specifically are buying ETH, and they're buying a lot of it. And it's one of those things you can't not pay attention to, because quite frankly, by the time we know why they're doing this, it will be by a far way too late. Now, could they just be wrong? Could ETH just absolutely crash and not do well and their investment go to crap? Yeah, obviously. They're not the best investors in the world, but I would say if anybody has some alpha, it's probably them. Right. It's probably them. Now, in addition to that, what we can also see is we started to get some pretty solid news here. What we saw earlier today was that, or a little bit more last night, was that the US SEC has approved Bitwise's combined Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF. Now, I went over to Grok just to kind of get a better explanation of this for you guys here, because Grok is great, by the way. Although my Twitter is still suspended. It's been a week now, Elon. I'm getting a little annoyed. Grok is great. And what we can see here is that this is important because it starts to kind of take steps in a continued direction for altcoins from an institutional perspective. What you can see here is that the SEC has gone and approved the Bitwise, Bitcoin, and Ethereum ETF for trading. This ETF provides investors with balanced exposure to both Bitcoin and Ethereum, weighted by their market cap. This approval marks a significant step in the legitimization of cryptocurrencies within traditional investment vehicles. Now, they actually did go in and fast track this or expedite the approval process for this ETF, which typically takes 240 days, but in this case, it was approved in just 45 days, meaning they're getting a move on, which is odd. I'm not going to lie. And just with the speed of it, because it's not odd, actually. Quite simply, you got the rat Gary Gensler out of there, so things are going to happen with speed. But the SEC is usually very slow, right? But no, they're not slow right now, at least. And so, with that in mind, obviously, you can start to see the impact that's having on the market. Now, Tyler, why is it so important? Well, the reason why this is so important is because, do you remember right after Trump got inaugurated, I told you it's going to be very important we pay attention to the manner in which they approach crypto. If they just start shilling their crappy meme coin and doing all these stupid things, it's going to delegitimize crypto substantially. But if they take the correct steps of entering into the world of crypto by setting the framework, laying out the foundation, making sure that the SEC crypto task force is in place, and make sure that the opportunity for companies to enter back into the United States is there, right? If they take it slow and maturely, I do actually think that we're going to see the crypto market perform very well as a result of what Trump's administration is doing. So if you remember, I told you that this is kind of a piggyback on top of that, right? Because now, although the SEC and the White House are separate, there's going to be a lot of unity there because, of course, you're starting to notice, obviously, they're just very much basically the same people. And this allows them to continue to build on top of that framework and foundation that I told you about, right? So they start laying the lands for all of these different things to happen in crypto. And now they're starting to build on top of that land. Now they're opening the door for the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF to launch. And next thing you know, you might have some altcoin-based ETFs that are solely based on altcoins. And then you see how it starts to kind of transition and it starts to kind of funnel into something bigger and bigger and bigger, right? This is how you need to see. Like this is what you need to see. Sorry, not how you need to see. I don't know what that means. This is what you need to see. You need to start to see the steps being taken in a very correct order. You don't want to just jump out with a freaking Solana ETF first. It doesn't particularly make a lot of sense, right? Have a Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF, and then eventually have an Ethereum spot ETF, right? And have these things like that, because that's how you start slowly injecting crypto into the actual real world in a slow and steady manner, and I really do like that. And so because of that, that's very good news. Kind of to counter the point that I did make just a little bit here, there were kind of rumblings and ramblings about a Dogecoin ETF approval. I'm not so sure about that. Obviously, we'll just kind of see what happens there, but considering Doge is launched on Ethereum, that obviously has been helping Ethereum as well. So just to kind of combine these things together now that you kind of see the bigger picture, we have Trump's team coming out and buying butt tons of Ethereum. We have the SEC approving an ETF that will combine Bitcoin and Ethereum. We also, in addition to that, are seeing possibilities for a Dogecoin ETF approval going up. That is kind of boosting Dogecoin a little bit, which does boost up Ethereum as well. And so because of all of these things, we're really starting to notice Ethereum absolutely smashing it. I mean, if we do go out to ETH, although it may not look like a lot, ETH's actually doing pretty dang on good. You look at the 4-hour charts, ETH has come off that 50% threshold that we talked about literally on the 27th or the 28th, and now it's pushed its way up. Do you guys remember how in the last couple live streams I told you my strategy was simple? Buy whenever Ethereum is at the red line, buy more if it's under the red line, and just wait for it to break out. I mean, look. That's why these descending structures are so easy. Because I told you, like, these things are easy gains. You just buy into 50% threshold or below and just wait for it to break out. And 90% of the time you'll win. And you can see what happened here. ETH's price is pushed up, and that has led the rest of the market upwards as well. As you can see here, the majority of the cryptos that are doing well are the ones that are based on ETH, right? You got LDO, you got Floki, you got Pepe, you got, not S, I was about to say S. You have Dexy. These are all things that are based on ETH. For example, Dexy's been killing it already, but this has really allowed it to kind of make a bit of a recovery. It's not low there for some reason, but same with many of these other ones, right? You're starting to see a lot of momentum here, and because they're Ethereum-based companies or tokens, they're going to do well, right? While ETH is doing well, Ethereum-based tokens will do well. Just like when Solana was pumping, when Trump coin and all that stuff, it brought up Jupe and it brought up all these other ones. You'll see that same thing with ETH, and you'll see the same thing with something like Pepe. If you guys remember, actually, I told you all, let's go back out to the Pepe chart here. I told you all in one of the previous live streams as well, whenever you're looking at something like Pepe, that I told you, buy when it's in the bottom half of the structure. So I told you I was doing some purchasing on Pepe right back here. And now it's not made huge gains since then, but we're already clearing the 50% threshold, headed towards the top there. And I still do think Pepe is going to break out of this descending structure at some point. And so because of that, you just got to notice these things and just recognize, look, we're in descending structure. The easiest thing to do here is to buy in the bottom half and just wait. And here we are, right? So things are starting to turn as we hoped, which is good. Now, again, we're not getting too far ahead of ourselves. We're not going to sit here and say that this is the beginning of the pump and this is the beginning of altcoin season, but it to some degree could be, in the sense that it could be the way in which institutions do start working their way into altcoins. Because I told you all that I'm starting to generate this idea that this cycle is going to be based primarily on institutions. What institutions do and how institutions move will impact the way that crypto moves. In 2021 and 2017 and 2013, the majority, or 99% of the reason why crypto moved was because of retail investors, right? It was because of what retail investors were doing. I don't think that's the case for this cycle. And so because of that, I think it's more important this cycle than any cycle before to really watch closely what's happening from an institutional perspective, because that's truly where the liquidity is. Most everyday people can't afford to live comfortably right now. I can't imagine they're going to be putting in thousands of dollars into Bitcoin if they don't have thousands of dollars in a savings account. And so because of that, obviously moments like this, when we get news like we've been seeing, just back to back to back to back, it is important to watch it very closely. Now, if we do dive a little bit deeper into the Ethereum protocol, you can see here that it's actually had a pretty solid recovery here. And I actually do think that ETH could be preparing. There's a reason to believe ETH could be preparing for some sort of more substantial move. You know, if you look at its total value locked again, which is just the total amount of assets locked on its ecosystem, it has been stable. It's been very stable. Even from that peak back in December, it's been very stable for the last couple of weeks. And it does feel as if it is creating some continuation structure. You know, you're starting to see the volume tick up at 2.57 billion. You see perpetual volumes picking up at 557 million. Total stablecoins market cap over 117 billion. I mean, these are the things that you want to see, right? And if you do just simply look at the ecosystem, right, the things that are locked, look at how they're performing just today, right? The majority of the ecosystem is green today as a result of what's happening here. And so it almost feels to me a little bit as if it would be a little bit irrational or irresponsible to not at least watch the Ethereum ecosystem. Now, as I mentioned before, am I a huge Ethereum fan? No, not really. I think the only thing that Ethereum has going for it that is beneficial, quite frankly, is early moving advantage and its credibility. I think many ecosystems and many blockchains are better than Ethereum every which way in which you go. But quite simply, that doesn't mean you can just ignore it, because institutions like it because of the credibility, first mover advantage. Those are the things institutions look for. And so again, remember, if we're in an institution cycle, we need to watch closely what institutions want. And it clearly is ETH. We can clearly see that clear as day. And so because of that, with that in mind, you got to be on the lookout for these different ones, right? You have the Dexies that are only at 1.2 billion in market cap, but could possibly have a strong performing year coming up. Could just be breaking out, right? You have the things like LDO at 2.16 billion, not even in the top 50 yet, right? You have to watch these things. Now, I'll be honest with you all. You know, this isn't something I usually share here on the channel a ton because I do like to keep it towards the school. But I even announced over in the school this morning that I actually did do my very first large dollar cost average of the year. I went in here and I said something is brewing with Ethereum. Trump's administration is loading their boats right now. Wells are accumulating. ETH's ecosystem is pumping. ETH's price just gave us the first signs of a breakout. I'm taking a gamble here and making my first large dollar cost average of the year on ETH. This will increase my total ETH bag by 15%. I am reinvesting some of my December profit taking to make this happen. I don't generally reinvest this much of my profit once, so if I'm wrong, it may annoy me, but I'm willing to take the gamble. My entry price was $33.58. Now, since that purchase, ETH is up a tiny amount. I mean, nothing really notable there. But the primary thing about it is, you know, like I re-entered, you know, or not re-entered, right? I just added a little bit more. And the reason I added a little bit more is because of what I said there, what I've told you all today, and because structurally what I am seeing is somewhat promising. Again, it wasn't a gigantic purchase, but it was a large purchase. 15% of my bag, which is over six figures, that's a good bit, you know, like that's a pretty decent sized purchase. And the reason that I did it is because ETH has had that correction. It has had that pullback. It has seen it just slow down and not really go anywhere and not really do too much. And it makes you start to question at what given point will it / you know, could it start to really gain that traction? To me, ETH has been constrained to some degree. It seems like all of the attention has been on everything else, whether it's XRP or Solana or many of these other ones. And it feels to me as if ETH hasn't really had its shining moment yet. But from a technical perspective, if ETH can break through this $4,000 level, I mean, the door will open wide. I mean, if ETH can break the $4,000 level, technical analysis says, and let's just get rid of this, technical analysis said that a push up towards $6,000 is reasonable, right? It's reasonable. And so because of that, no, I'm not loading the boats. I'm not selling anything to be buying ETH right now. Because again, I don't particularly like ETH. It would be irresponsible of me to at least not pack a little bit of a bag, an extra bag, just to see what happens. Now, my average cost for Ethereum is still sub $2,000. My average cost for Ethereum is actually right around this level, right around $1,600. So the increase that I did today wasn't that substantial also because I already am up about a 2x, a little bit over a 2x on ETH. And so because of that, no, I didn't do anything too crazy. But again, I did increase that bag just a little bit just in case. Now, the thing is, I might be wrong, right? I've told you all this quite frankly. I don't know what's going to happen. Bitcoin has been acting so damn weird for the last little while here. We're in the middle of an HMZ. I mean, we're in this sideways moment. And next thing you know, if Bitcoin decides that it wants to take a crap and it wants to go all the way back down to 90K, it's probably going to bring ETH down with it. And these purchases that I do right now are just going to go negative. But like I told you before, I'm willing to take the gamble. I'm willing to take the risk because my gut isn't usually wrong whenever I see things like this in which major institutions are starting to look at and do things and interact with Ethereum. And what they do during a cycle like this one is what I will personally do. Now, there's a lot of progress that ETH needs to make here, right? We still need to see Ethereum being able to break some of these highs. Ethereum hasn't even set a new higher high, quite frankly, right? I mean, we still need to see it break $3,523. We need to see it clear back out of the golden zone. Ideally, we see it get back above 37.25. There's still a lot of things that need to happen. And so I'm not just out here against spam buying Ethereum, but it is in a decent enough spot to make me at least interested, thinking that we could get some sort of upward trajectory within the next couple of weeks here. If we do go down to some of our shorter time frames and turn on the battle signals, I'm very curious actually to see how this has been playing out. So let's actually zoom up a little bit on the hourlies. Let's see. How are we feeling, battle signals? How are we feeling? Give it a second to calculate. Yeah, I mean, we're already seeing some of the hourly battle signals flashing, and historically, these things are very accurate whenever they start to assume when you're going to see a slowdown in momentum. So again, I'm not doing any more gigantic purchases. I did one small purchase today just to leave it there because again, coming off the bottom side of this zone, we were seeing ETH get these major gigantic buy signals going, right? And so I'm not doing any huge purchases right now because we are about to go through a battle. This means that the bears are stepping in. It doesn't particularly mean that the price is going to crash, but it means the bears are stepping in and they're going to try to fight for this zone. They don't really want us to get back above $3,700 because obviously that's a huge liquidation zone. And so because of that, I'm not going crazy. I'm not going on 100x leverage. I'm not 50xing. I'm not 20xing. I'm not leveraging in general. I'm just buying a little bit for the long term, adding it to that bag and just kind of see how this happens, right? And so with that in mind, that's kind of my strategy with ETH right now. Obviously, ETH can continue upwards. You can see historically that although there may be these little pullbacks as a result of the bear stepping in, it can still continue upwards. And so I'm not going to go ahead and say it has to pull back, but I am just going to say just to be careful right now because it took a lot of momentum. It took a lot of strength to clear out of this descending structure. And you never know when you're going to use a lot of bullish momentum to get out. The bulls need to kind of take a bit of a rester, take a bit of a cool down, and then try to make your move upward. So I don't think you should be 100x or 50x leveraging still. I don't think it's a good idea, quite simply just because we are still seeing Bitcoin in a high manipulation zone, and there are still a lot of liquidations just sitting around, basically. I don't know what that meant, but there's still a lot of liquidations just sitting around. And I think it just deleted my ETH chart, which is super stupid. Whatever, we'll just leave off that for now. But yeah, so that's the strategy there. What I do actually want to do really quick is I want to look at how liquidations are playing out for Ethereum. Let me try to get my trading view pulled back up, but let me see how, let's see, there we go. That's a little bit better. Let's head over actually to CoinGlass, and I want to see how things are playing out here from a liquidation based perspective. Let's go to ETH. Yeah, so I mean, there is still the possibility this thing does move up. I don't really care about the shorter term time frames. I want to see how this is playing out from a macro perspective. So from a more macro perspective on the 30-day, as zoomed out as we can get here on this liquidation map, there are still billions of dollars that will get liquidated if we do see ETH's price pushing upwards. Much more, right? So you can see about roughly, if we go up to about 3,700, there's just shy of $5 billion worth of liquidations. Whereas if it falls back towards 3,000, there's half of that. And so I would assume the lizard people are looking at this, especially considering they have institutional backing right now. I would assume they're looking at this and licking their lips. Like, well, if we can see this bad boy just push up towards $3,700, which is not a very big move, by the way. That's ETH literally just going back up right here, right? If we can get it back up towards $3,700, we can clear out $5 billion worth of short traders. I would imagine that's a card that's very much so on the table. So there is obviously still a lot of upward trajectory here for ETH. I think there's still a lot of potential for it to continue upwards. The ride there may be a little bumpy, right? If you look at the 7-day, there's obviously a lot that's going to happen here. Like you look at the 7-day, down to 3,000 is ugly, right? There's billions of dollars in liquidations to the downside on the 7-day, hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars in liquidations to the downside on the 1-day. So it's not probably just going to be a short, easy ride where ETH might just go straight upwards. There probably are going to be herky jerkies, right? Where you go up and down and up and down and you get a little sideways. But it does feel to me as if something is changing here for ETH. It does feel as if the narrative is shifting a little bit back in ETH's direction. And after a breakout like that, I can't ignore it. And so, yeah, because of that, I'm not going all in because of the risk that I've already told you. We are getting the bearish battle signals here. We are seeing a heavy amount of short-term liquidations building up. So all of these things tell me that it is still a bit of a risk to just go all in, obviously. But getting some bids in here, probably not a terrible idea if you are willing to hold them for the long term. So that's what I'm doing. So overall, looking very good. And I think if ETH can continue to this upwards trajectory, it is just good for altcoins in general. If we can see the institutions continue to kind of feeding, right, to kind of just feed into Ethereum and feed this altcoin market, I do actually think that we could see it start to trickle down into some sort of micro altcoin season. I'm not really, again, expecting a huge, gigantic altcoin season until the economy is in a better place and inflation rates are down, quantitative easing begins, and all of these things, right? I think we're going to need to see a little bit of a different landscape for a major altcoin season to happen, but I do think some like a bullish period for altcoins isn't impossible if we do continue to see the institutions feeding into Ethereum, because it does trickle down, right? You think back to 2021, a lot of the substantial growth that we saw from the altcoin market was a trickle from ETH. As ETH pumped, we saw it start leaving ETH into some of these other ones. It went Bitcoin, ETH, everything else. And if we can start to see that funnel happen, not a terrible idea. It's not going to be a ton, quite frankly, because the institutions aren't going to sell their ETH after it pumps and then start buying something small. Like that's just not the way in which they operate. They buy things and leave them alone for a very long time. But I do think in general, it could pump up some of these other ecosystems, which then could generate liquidity for retail investors that then flows into other altcoins and things like that. And so because of that, we're actually in a pretty damn good spot here for ETH. And I know I've been talking for about 22 minutes straight, so I do want to jump into the chat for a second. But I actually am very impressed by what we're seeing from ETH. Again, I'm not a huge ETH fan. I don't particularly like it all that much, but that doesn't mean I don't hold it. I hold over 6 figures of Ethereum, or 6 figures worth of Ethereum. Just because I was buying a lot throughout the bear market, and I am planning on taking profits, but I do. Again, it would be irresponsible of me, even though I don't particularly like it, to not acknowledge the fact that something feels like it's brewing here, and I guess we'll just have to see. And like I said, I'm speculating. I'm sure you've come to recognize that throughout the majority of the stream. I have just been speculating. I'm literally just guessing based off of experience. So don't take this as fact. And if I'm wrong, I'll just be like, oh shit, I was wrong. Oh well. I'll be annoyed again because I did take some of my DCA profits from December and put it into ETH, which is a weird move. It's a move I don't usually make. Like I took some profits from SWI, some of my Solana profits, not all of it. I took a lot more profit than I reinvested here. I did take some of that profit though and reinvest it into ETH, which is just a weird move for me. It's not a move I typically make. So if I am wrong, I am going to be a little aggravated by it, but I am just going with my gut here, and whatever happens, happens, I guess. But yeah, so that's where we're at. That's where we're at with that. The one weird thing about it is, or the one thing that I forgot to mention as well, is it does feel as if since XCN is also an ETH-based crypto, it does feel to me like we are actually seeing some people funnel their liquidity from XCN or Onyx Coin into some of your other ones. Let me double check my math on that, or my stats on that. This is an ETH-based crypto. Yeah, right. And so what I want to do is I actually want to go in and I want to do some on-chain analysis after this stream. Maybe Jacob, if you, or Gabriel, one of you two, if you could get it started, that would be great. But what I want to do is I want to check some wallet addresses and see if we're seeing retail investors flowing from XEN into other ETH-based assets, because you do see that a lot, right? We saw XEN flying, which is an ETH-based asset, and after we saw that happen, typically speaking, what you'll notice is the liquidity is gonna flow somewhere else. It's just what happens. When people get happy with their gains and we hit $1 billion and we hit that psychological level of $1 billion, people are gonna take profits. And the most likely thing is that they're gonna take those profits and flow them into other things on the same chain because it's easy. And so I do actually feel like XCN is feeding some liquidity into some of these other ETH-based assets as well. So it's a pretty interesting thought. I am not basing that off of data because I'm guessing, but I do want to go do some on-chain analysis. So Gabriel, please get us started. To see if that is what's happening, because I think that would be interesting. So overall, that's kind of where we are. from the market today, and that's why alts are pumping. Again, I know this was a rather that was a long 25 minutes of me yapping, but I think we covered basically everything just in terms of what's happening with this market here, and yeah, rather interesting. The only other thing I want to look at really quickly before we do doing a little Q&A. So please leave some questions in the chat real quick. We're going to do a Q&A in a section. In a second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at Bitcoin dominance total 2. I'm going to shill our school for a second, and then we're going to do a Q&A. So leave some questions in the chat. This is probably going to be a bit of a quicker stream. But yeah, let's see what's going on. So Bitcoin dominance has to be down on the day. Yeah. So Bitcoin dominance is getting rejected off of that same exact level it's been getting rejected off of. Bitcoin dominance has been struggling as it's trying to create some early signs of maybe a possible cup and handle shoulder off this, Fibonacci zone. This is what you would expect, right? This is normal. This is rather expected, but I will say if Ethereum continues in the direction that it's going, this may get a lot worse, right? We may see Bitcoin dominance continue lower. Not what I was expecting. I actually thought I thought Bitcoin dominance had a decent sized chance. I mean, talking 70% chance of breaking actually through this golden Fibonacci zone and then using it to continue upwards into more of a Bitcoin season. If you're an altcoin investor, like, hey, this could be a good sign. Like if you're an altcoin holder and you're really adamant you want altcoins to do well, this could be a good sign. Obviously, this is early days, so I'm not leaning into it too much. I want to see which one of these breaks first. Do we break ascending support or do we break horizontal resistance? That is going to very likely tell us where this pinch is going. So we're going to stay tuned for that, but we are seeing Bitcoin dominance get rejected, which could mean that we could enter some sort of little smaller period for altcoins again, which could be pretty damn interesting, right? Maybe, just maybe, the structure isn't the cup and handle, right? And that's what I've told you before. Maybe it isn't the cup and handle. Maybe the structure is the ascending wedge, because ascending wedges are bearish, right? Bam, 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 bam. That's typically how this plays out. So we're going to find out very soon. Are we in the ascending wedge? Are we in the cup and handle? And that's juicy because it tells us what portion of the market we're going in. Are we entering into a Bitcoin-led market or an altcoin-led market? That's juicy stuff. That's exciting. I can't wait to find out because I'm ready for some excitement. I just want to see something happen. I'm tired of being in this HMZ, this high manipulation zone. I'm tired of just staring at the same stupid chart all day. I'm excited for something to happen. And so, yeah, I'm pretty damn excited about that myself. Now, looking at Total 2 really quickly. Total 2 has made a pretty solid move, but if we actually just get rid of everything, I am recognizing the structure here. What it looks to me like is we are also seeing Total 2 deciding kind of the approach that it wants to take here. Yeah, we haven't seen Total 2 break out yet, and so this means to me that we could very well still be early days. Like, and again, you shouldn't get too far ahead of yourselves. I know I am pretty bullish on ETH right now today, but that's just because that's right now today. We've not seen a lot of confirmations quite yet. Total 2 hasn't broken out yet. Bitcoin dominance is only just kind of pulling back a little bit. And so these sort of things tell me that although we are seeing a little bit of progress and we are seeing altcoins having a decent recovery, we are by no means setting the trend yet. The trend is not set yet. And so there's a lot of confirmations that need to happen. We still need to see certain things breaking out and making moves. But for the most part, we are seeing some early signs that are bullish enough to make me at least capitalize on it to some degree by, again, picking up a little bit of ETH earlier. And so with that in mind, that's kind of where we are with this. That's kind of where we are with the market today. It's looking pretty damn good. A lot of confirmations that need to be had, as I mentioned before. So I will continue to update you guys on that, obviously. But I'm liking what we're seeing. So again, get your questions going. Let's do a little bit of a Q&A. Let's do a little bit of a Q&A here. Before we do in the Q&A, you guys know I got to shamelessly shill a little bit. If you guys do want to see the things that I am buying, the things that I'm buying, my thoughts and much more, you can check out the school. Now, our mission at the school, guys, is very simple. We take crypto investors like yourselves. We give you courses, coaching, live streams, research, and a bunch more stuff to help you create your strategies, because strategies are where gains are made. Gains aren't made just randomly spraying and paying, hoping and firing. No. You make a strategy, and that's what creates gains. And I'm not talking about little gains. I'm talking about big gains. I'm talking about this community has generated millions of dollars in profits and gains. And don't get me wrong, they've taken losses too. This is not a win-only community, but there have been a lot of gains. And if I just scroll through, this is just since yesterday. I'll just scroll and just let you see it real quick. This is all since yesterday. So if you do want to start refining your skills and you want to join in today, again, our mission is very simple, and you can join. There's over 1,245 other members in there. You can start as little as $5 a month, and the best part about it is you get your money back if you want it. If you don't enjoy it, get your money back, no problem. And the second thing, although I'm not trading right now, if you do want to start doing a little bit of trading, you can use that link to BitUnix, which is linked down below. Guys, if you do sign up and start trading today, you're going to be able to get a $200 futures bonus or a 20% cash back, meaning if you deposit, say, $1,000, they're going to give you $200 today to start trading with. If you deposit $500, they're going to give you $100 today to start trading with. And whatever profit you make from that, you get to keep it. It's all for you. You have 9 days left to get started on that. I highly recommend you check out that link down below. It's a great platform. One of the best I've ever used. I've met them in person before, so I know they are legitimate. So feel free to go check that out down below. Let me know what you think. But now that we are done shamelessly shilling, let's get into the next portion of the video where we answer some questions. Hello, everyone. I feel like I didn't get to say hello to you fast enough. Hello, everyone. Happy to have you guys again. Don't forget, smash that like button if you guys have been enjoying it. What's going on? What's going on? All right. Just got a lot more cash to put into the market. I know you are mainly waiting right now, but what's your top 3 you suggest to I can't particularly say I would suggest anything, but I mean, I would be lying if I didn't say Ethereum was pretty juicy. I think SWI is looking pretty damn decent right now. SWI is a little risky in the short term, but from a macro perspective, SWI is getting in a much better place, which I do think is pretty solid. And then I think Ondo is still a pretty strong value play. So I guess the ETH, SWI, and Ondo aren't bad ones to check out. I'm not telling you to buy them. I'm not suggesting or recommending you to buy them, but check them out if you want. What do you think about the monthly candle Bitcoin closing under the previous month? Shooting star. Is it about to happen unless Bitcoin will make a big move in the next 7 hours? It might, but you can't fall on that too much. You know, you can't fall on that too much. It just is what it is. You know, I don't particularly care about candles like that. Like monthly candles are kind of unimportant to me because you have to think about how little of them there are. Let's say if Bitcoin, we have 150 candles to go off of. That's not Bitcoin 2000. No, it's going to be more than that. Less than 200 candles, I think. Less than 200 monthly candles. Although that is a pretty decent sized case study in the grand scheme of things, when you're doing pure technical analysis, that's not enough to establish trends in history. We don't even know if shooting stars are actually that bad in the world of crypto because it is its own asset class to some degree. And it is the most volatile asset class that there is right now. And so I don't particularly care about them that much. Weird question, but do you think Bitcoin will actually reach 1.3 million? Did I say 13 million? No, I don't think so. Not while I'm alive. I couldn't imagine that. Yeah, I was about to say, see, Hank knows what's up. Hank knows what's up. If y'all don't drink your water, I'm going to ban you out the stream. Drink your water. Conjo, Tyler's a man. I guess my question to you is, do you think Trump could pump? Do you think Trump could pump? Do the people who bought in at high level get their money back at least? I would think so. If there's ever a meme coin that has naturally built-in catalysts, it's going to be Trump coin because he's going to be relevant for 4 years. But fuck, like that's a hard one. I was telling people I ain't buying it. I ain't touching it. It's a bit of a difficult one. It's a gamble. It's a gamble for sure. And I'm glad I avoided it personally. Much appreciated, homie. Happy to help. I'll do a rapid fire technical analysis session in about 5 minutes. No worry. Everything pops up due to Bitcoin or ETH and now appears to be downward wedge. Almost appears altcoins being bled purposely. Maybe. Let's see. Do I see that on the hour? I mean, things are kind of down, but they're not super down, if we're going to be honest. Not super down. I think it's okay. Natural correction. Yep, I'm going to do a rapid fire TA session a little bit here. Don't matter how much Bitcoin you have. Now it's not enough. I would actually agree with that. Hey, Tyler. First thing, amazing work with the school. Everyone should join. Now, what's up with ETH? What you like or don't, and what would you say with Solana? I actually went over Ethereum basically the first 25 minutes. Oh, it's Chicano. What's up, homie? Welcome in. Welcome in. Chicano's actually one of the guys from the school. Very good. Very good. Happy to have you in here. We'll check out Solana a little bit, but the first like 20 minutes of the stream was dedicated to ETH. Are you noticing any similarities between this cycle and last cycle? Not particularly. I'm actually noticing more similarities between this cycle and 2017. And that actually breaks down. Oh, you know what? Now that I think about that, there is one thing I forgot to show you all. Let me go to that real quick. If we go into the cryptoverse, what you actually can see is that ETH is actually backtesting that bull market support band, and it's doing well. So if ETH can bounce off of this, history says that it's in a very good spot. I completely forgot I wanted to show you guys this, but history says that when you get the bullish cross above the bull market support bands, right, and then you backtest it and successfully hold above it, ETH does very well. That's some of its best periods. So like, for example, if we go back to times where this failed. So you see how we crossed above it, we failed to hold it, and then we crashed. But this time we broke above it, we held it, and then we took off. You notice that a lot with ETH, that whenever it holds this bull market support band, it actually performs extremely well, or it'll see some at least pretty solid sizable gains. I mean, look back right here. Look at how we crossed above it, held above it, even got a little back test there, and then we ran. We saw ETH run all the way from, you know, 1,700 about almost about $4,000, right? Like, that was very good. That was a very good move. So the fact that we saw ETH get this cross above it and it's actually holding the support is a good sign. The problem is this might just be a bounce, right? This might just be a bounce. So again, we've not confirmed that this breakout and this support has actually held yet, but this is a very good sign that ETH may be building the early moments of a successful backtest that could continue it upward. So it is at least worth looking at and watching out for. Now, continuing back to the question that someone asked, yeah, I'm noticing more similarities between this cycle and the 2017 cycle. And the reason that I say that is because, give me a second. There's something I want to see, but for some reason I'm just not seeing it. Here we go. Let's do this one. So what you can see here, if I get rid of market cycle number, let's get rid of cycle. Let's get rid of that one. Let's get rid of that one. Let's get rid of that one. So what you can see is that we're actually noticing this cycle we're in right now has been following suit with 2017. So basically the way that 2017 went has been very similar to how this year went. Now, you may ask, well, why would that be? Because we're such in a different place than last time, and I think it's from an adoption perspective. I think the reason this cycle has been so similar to 2017 is that the adoption curve has been different. In 2017, we were starting to recognize mainstream adoption, whereas we were starting to actually see retail coming into crypto, actually joining crypto. That's when I joined, right? A lot of people came in for the very first time. And so when you have that sort of movement, when you have that sort of situation, you have to think the fundamental reason why that cycle was so explosive was quite simply because there was an onboarding of a massive buyer base, a base of people who will buy. When you put that into 2024 perspective, 2025, 2023 even, the reason why we're seeing this one looking very similar and the reason why we've seen this bull market actually happen is because we're getting a massive inflow of people who are willing to buy. Who? Institutions. So 2017, we saw retail onboarded. 2024, 2025, we're seeing institutions onboarded. And whenever you have a major onboarding like that, oftentimes, although the actual substantiality of it, like the growth will be a little bit different, the actual trend will typically look the same. It's the reason why when you look at the growth of cryptocurrency versus the growth of the internet in its early days, they look very similar. Although obviously markets different, sectors different, market caps different, everything's different. It comes to adoption. And the adoption aspect of that puts these sort of constraints and allowances on an asset or just a narrative to some degree that allows it to grow in similar fashions. Now, do I think that we're going to see this market play out exactly like 2017? I'm going to be honest, I hope so. My gut says it's not going to go exactly the same. My gut says the return is going to be less and it's going to take longer because obviously here we were seeing FOMO from retail investors, and that's the sort of FOMO you don't particularly see from institutions. Institutions are typically a lot more cool, calm, and collected, right? They hold on, I got to mute someone real quick. Give me 1 second. There we go. Sorry for the interruption there. There we go. Okay. Someone's just spamming like crazy. And so do I think it's going to go exactly the same? No. Institutions are typically a little bit more cool, calm, and collected. They will typically move a little bit slower, right? And so I think it would be a little bit more sideways, a little bit less returning, and a little bit longer. But if we do for some reason see retail investors really jumping back in, I do think there's a reasonable chance to say that we could see similar returns, even if it does take a little bit longer. So because of that, actually, I would say the biggest comparable market from this one is 2016, 2017, right? From back here where the market ended. I mean, we were basically right now in 2017. This is, say, 2016. This is 2015. So the market started in 2015, ended roughly in, right around 2017. So the 2017 market. But yeah, so that's kind of my thought process, and those are the comparisons. And yeah, sorry, I didn't see the guy spamming. My bad. Okay. All right, let's go back. Any questions? Any questions? Feel free. Drink your water, or I'm gonna ban you. All right, right. Oh, right. As you said, you need signs of life. Jasmy went up 40%. Did it? Did it? Let me see. What's it doing? Am I blind? Oh, there we go. Jasmy. Yeah, it did. It's not. I don't know why this shifted so heavily. Yeah. Wow. Look at that. Yeah. Hey. Whoa, player. Got a lot of dip on your chip. That's looking pretty good. Hey. Jasmy may be giving it. Jasmy may be giving it exactly like you'd want to see. A triple confirmed resistance point. So obviously 1, 2, 3, 3 confirmations of the trend. Bam. You have your resistance point. You break back above it. Now it's holding above it. Like, that's not bad. That's a good sign, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. You look at this from a Fibonacci based perspective. It's also trying to break that golden zone. It's struggling a little bit, but it is trying to break that golden zone to start kind of getting this bad boy going again. Let's look at the Elliott's waves, for example. Let's see. It looks like from the trading view Elliott's wave analysis, it does feel as if we may have just gotten a completed 5-wave on the C wave, which is actually pretty good. A 5-wave C wave, which basically means that this could have been the actual bottom of that correction, the macro correction that we had there. You also technically could look at it as a macro 3-wave that didn't have the 5-wave, but that doesn't matter. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So that means that the bottom could be there from an Elliott's wave perspective. Not a ton of flashing signals down here on it, on Jasmy, the battle signals. We are obviously in a key battle zone right here. There's a couple battle zones above us for Jasmy, which are going to be a little bit hard to get over on the 4-hour, but I would assume on the 1-hour things look very similar, but maybe we're getting those. Yeah, so we are getting some bearish signals flashing here, right? So the bears are stepping in full force now that we've actually seen Jasmy get this breakout, which is something they hadn't done before, right? We saw them step in back here, while it was within the structure, but now that Jasmy's broken above the structure, that's when the bears stepped in. So they kind of gave room to the bulls. They let the bulls go. They didn't try to stop the bulls, and by the time they did, it was too late. The bulls had kind of snuck in and kind of took their land, and so you can see what played out here, right? The bulls really started stepping in towards this bottom side battle zone as soon as we lost this one. It put in this double bottom and just took off. It seems like it took the bears by surprise. Even me, I'm a little shocked by it. Took the bears by surprise, broke through the structure, ran into this battle zone, and the bears did step in, right? You can see them trying to win this war here right now, but they're not doing the best job, and the bulls are sustaining here. I mean, that's good stuff. That's good stuff that's real good stuff from Jasmy. Very good. Maybe I'll buy a little bit of it. It's a bit of a risk, because obviously you don't know if the back test is going to hold, but yeah, I'm down with it. Jacob, I think you're the one who has my wallet right now. Let's do not a full medium-sized purchase, but give me like one a little bigger than a small. So somewhere in the middle, small to medium-sized purchase here. Give me a small to medium-sized price. I like it. I like it actually a lot. I like it a lot. Let me make sure that everybody knows. Give me one sec. There we go. Got to let them know. I like to let them know when I'm doing stuff like that. Okay. Yeah, very good. Who said that? Was that Hack? Yeah, shout out to you, Hack. All right. All right. Anyone who spams Toshi, I'm going to ban. I'm not going to mute you. I'm going to ban you. I'm just warning you. Okay. Let's kind of jump back into the chat. Very good. How are we already almost at an hour? What in the world? Okay. What do you think about Stellar? Any potential for significant jump in 2026? I think so. Let me go jump. I know I've been buying a little XLM. I think there was something I didn't like. Something I saw recently that was a little bit concerning. What was it? Oh yeah, it's struggling. It's struggling like crazy. Right now, I'm in a pause, wait, and watch moment for XLM. I did a lot of buying down in this green zone, but I think if it can get its feet under it and start trying to push through that 50% psychological or 50-cent psychological level, I do think it's going to run. So, but for now, I'm just waiting. But I do think it has legs. We just need to see it break that 50-cent threshold. It's a huge zone. I mean, that's a very hard zone. I would assume that's a major battle zone. Yeah, we got the battle zone going right there for sure. Yeah. Okay. Let me jump into Solana and Sweet because I know you guys want to see it. Solana looking good. I've told you all geez, that stutter was crazy. The strategy with Solana is pretty simple. Let me kind of see what this is doing. Solana's still just trying to give us this breakout. Okay, so this is what Solana's doing right now. Let me kind of just break this down for you. Okay, let me turn on the battle signals real quick. So what Solana did was Solana created the descending structure. Okay, it had this descending structure. We were getting our buys in on Solana. Now, funnily enough, we didn't actually have the battle signals fully implemented until, let me hide this comment, hold on. until a little bit later than this. But funnily enough, as we hit the bottom side of the structure every time for the most part, I kind of missed it there, but most of the times when Solana hit the bottom side of this descending structure right here, our battle signals are going off. Hey, the bulls are stepping in. Boom, price pump. Bulls are stepping in. Boom, price pump. Bulls are stepping in. Almost caught it, but then we did see the price pump. Now, as we saw the bulls push Solana's price out of the descending structure right here, the bears stepped in like crazy. You see this blue line? That's a battle zone. You see this liquidity, this volume? That's a battle zone, right? And the bears stepped in and they're like, nah, we don't want you to break out right now. We saw the rest of the market pull back towards the middle of the week on January, and then we saw Solana get decimated. We saw a full fake out to the downside, just absolutely wrecked right back to the downside. But what was interesting is that as Solana re-entered back in here, we saw another battle. You see the blue line? Again, that's a battle zone. And so the bulls step in and they're like, you know what? No, we're holding the line right here. And so they step in and boom, you get that bull signal printing like, hey, the bulls are stepping in. They're buying. They're buying, they're buying, they're buying. The bears get one more try. The market crashed. I remember that day on the 13th. We saw the market pull back a lot. We saw us hit this green zone again, which is where our previous battle signals had gone off. The next thing you know, Solana just takes off. And look how they just caught the bears by surprise. The bears could not catch any momentum here. We broke out, dude. Solana breaks out. No bear stepping in. Clears the battle zone, no bear stepping in. It takes us getting all the way up to the previous high for the bears to really start stepping in, but it was too late. Now, yeah, you can see they stepped in force right here. So they're like, no, we're not letting you do that. And so we did see Solana's price kind of get rejected a little bit and slowed back down, but quite frankly, I mean, it was too late. And so where Solana's at right now is that since the bears did step in and kind of slow it down, we're seeing it correct, but it's correcting very naturally and healthily. It's trying to hold support in this golden zone. Not quite sure if it's going to hold, but I am willing to actually. Nah, I don't need to be buying because I did buy so much dang on Solana down here. I'm not going to buy. I almost bought a little bit right now, but I'm going to just leave it alone. But it does feel to me as if we could very well see. It does feel to me as if we very well could see Solana try to hold some support sometime soon. Does that mean it's going to run right now? I don't know. Obviously, it just kind of just depends. A lot of attention's on Ethereum at this moment, but it does feel as if we're seeing a lot of good progress from Solana. So even if it does continue downwards, the lower it goes in my brain, the more likely it is that we do see it hold support and continue upwards. And I would say as long as Solana's price is above, shoot, $190, we're good. So we got a lot of room to work. The bulls made a sneaky run right there. I mean, they just went right past those bearish zones, smashed through them. Yeah, Solana's in a great spot. I like what I'm seeing. Very, very, very good. Super happy about that. All righty. Let's see. Okay, Sui. Did I talk about Sui? No, I didn't talk about Sui yet. Let's look at this. I want those battle signals going off. Okay, let's see here. All righty, we're on the 4-hour. Okay, so let's kind of get into this. So what are we seeing? Let me kind of just slow things down a little bit for you here. So do you guys remember how Sui was in this ascending channel and I told you it was spooky? This is why I told you it was spooky. Ascending channels have a 90% chance of breaking to the downside. They have about an 80% chance of breaking to the downside in a bull market, but across neutral markets, bear markets, and bull markets combined, they have a 90% chance of breaking to the downside. On January 10th and January 5th, I believe. Yeah, January 5th. I actually took some profits off of Sui, and I told you all this. This is not news. I took some profits off of Sui, and I told you, I'm not going to start looking to reinvest into Sui again until it gets out of this channel because it's just spooky. It's just spooky. Being in these channels will almost break to the downside. That's what we did. Now, I told you there's going to be a couple places where Sui's price is going to come back down to. These are going to be called bounce zones. These are going to be the zones where you're going to try to see Sui's price try to use it as support to continue upwards. And what you can see is that although Sui is just now hitting its very first bounce zone, exactly what we were hoping would happen is now happening. Whereas what is going on is Sui is now coming back down. It hit this first bounce zone, and then it created this Adam and Eve on that bounce zone, which means that, like, how do I explain this? Like, we revolved around it. So, like, imagine this is going to be a bit of a hard thing to visualize, but I'm going to try my best, right? So imagine you're running, and there's a pole, like, somewhere next to you, right? And you're running, and as you pass that pole, you stick your arm out, you grab it. Well, what's going to happen? You might go a little further, but you're only going to go as long as your arm is. And as long as you hold on to that pole, what's going to happen is you're going to spin around that pole and run in the opposite direction, right? You get what I mean? So you're running, you grab that pole and bam. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. That's kind of what Sui did right here. Sui ran past the pole and grabbed it. So it went a little bit further, but then as it grabbed it, it could only go so far because the bulls did step in. You can see that here, right? The bulls stepped in mass right here. So we had huge bullish people stepping in, boom, at this battle zone. And then what happened is that Sui has now used that to then continue back upwards. So what does this mean? Well, we're not in a spot where I can confidently say that this pullback for SWE is over. And the reason that I say that is because there is still a lot between here and where we were. Or there's not a lot between here and where we were. The room between the top side of that channel and where we are right now isn't very big. And history says that when you break out of these descending channels, you're going to get far away from the channel. Meaning that SWE typically in a situation like this won't just go back up. That's not usually what will happen, because then you're just going to run right back into it and then you're back where you started. Whereas what will generally happen with something like SWE is that it's going to get far away from it. The question is, does it go down to get far away from it, or does it just go sideways or casually upwards for a while to get far away from it? That I obviously don't know. And so because of that, I'm not aping into SWE right now, but it's definitely back on my radar to be on the lookout for, because there could be some pretty good buying opportunities. There was obviously already one, right? We saw the bull step in here. Boom. The bull stepped in quite obviously there. So that was one good buying opportunity. All that liquidity there was very good. But there probably will be some good buying opportunities at some point here for SWE throughout this little range it's probably going to enter into. And so because of that, again, I'm not loading SWE right now, but I'm definitely watching it, if that makes sense. Okay. Next up, what you got? How do you get all these technicals? Do you teach a class on how to use all of them? Yeah, so we actually have a bunch of classes over in the school that kind of go over it. Like basically all of them. The battle signals is an indicator that I created recently. It's not for sale or anything. I just kind of use it here on the channel. I have the infrastructure laid out to where I could sell it if I wanted to, and if people want it, I will. I just made it just so I can use it. But we'll see. Alrighty. All right. Ondo Floki. Any thoughts on AI agents? They have dropped massively. Is it time to buy them for a discounted price, or the meta of the cycle is changing? The meta of the cycle could be changing, but I think putting some small bids in just to buy a little bit of it isn't a bad idea. Like, I think just picking up a little bit of it just to kind of see what happens makes a lot of sense, because they have pulled back. You typically want to buy cryptos in pullbacks, right? You get a pullback. What do? You typically buy a little crypto. Pepe's daily MACD. There we go. Pepe's daily MACD. Remember, the MACD is rather a bit of a lagging indicator, but it is worth looking at. Yeah, I mean, I see what you mean. It does feel like, Pepe could be gaining some momentum here, gaining some traction. And that cross will likely happen if Pepe gets that breakout or very close to the breakout. So, again, Pepe is one of them ones. Like, yeah, I think Pepe could easily have a run here. I think Pepe pushing up another 70 to 100% makes a ton of sense. It probably is going to take time. It's not going to be quick. And if ETH starts crashing, well, Pepe's going to go back down with it. But if Pepe does eventually get this breakout, yeah, I think a 50, 60% pump makes a lot of sense. Why not? Why not? Good morning, Mom. What's up? Okay. Is anyone concerned about the tariffs over the weekend? Bitcoin loves the dump on Sunday. What tariffs? What are you talking about? If you feel overexposed, you're probably overexposed. So diversifying is never a bad idea. Just join me. That's why you're hating on Toshi. I'm not hating on Toshi. There were two guys who were spamming Toshi over and over and over again. That was annoying everyone. Alrighty. All right. Any more questions? We're gonna jump on. We got 5 more minutes, and then I gotta get a couple things knocked out. Is your Patreon you? I'm not sure what you mean. Is that who you're talking to? Because sometimes it's me and sometimes it's my assistant. Got it. Trump announced tariffs on Mexico and Canada. Got it. Tariffs being threatened against Canada and Mexico. That's a weird play, but I don't know anything about that, so I need to look into it before I can really talk about it. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm not super caught up on how tariffs will truly impact an economy, so I don't really want to speak too deeply onto it until I continue more research. I don't really know much about Aerodrome. Oh, no. Yeah, that's me. Look, you can see here. This is me. It's not going to look like this after next week. I will warn you. I have news coming. I keep telling you, I got news coming. Hey, stay alert. Stay alert. Big things are coming. Alrighty. Is it a good time to buy Jasmy? Yeah, I think a little bid here on Jasmy's not a bad idea. I did a little buy on Jasmy earlier. Shout out to you, Jackson. Happy to see you there. I don't know much about Toshi, but I'm happy to give it a swing if you'd like. Yep. Go watch the beginning of the stream. And we went over basically everything. We're wrapping up the stream here. I usually like to go a little longer, like an hour and a half. I'm not gonna lie, I think I might be getting an early migraine, just because like it's kind of like my neck hurts. It's like the back of my neck, like where it connects to my skull, hurts, and like I feel like my cheeks hurt. Like I feel like when I smile and stuff, it hurts a little bit. So we're probably gonna wrap it up a little bit early today. But it's all good. I'm happy that I was able to jump on and kind of break down what's going on. And like I said, I'm gonna still film another video. Another video for you guys is kind of talking about some of the more macroeconomic factors and how certain things that are going on in the real world right now are still impacting crypto. We got some pretty important information I want to share with you also. No, it doesn't. It will. I just have to figure out the right way that I want to talk about my own portfolio. I think we might just do percentages and stuff like that. I never really like to disclose exactly how much I have invested into things. One, security reasons, and then two, I feel weird about it, to be honest. I just don't. I feel odd. Alrighty. Exactly. You get it. Yeah, I did wait until 5 p.m. to eat yesterday. I was just busy. I have to hear the logic before I log off. I have to hear the logic for how that makes sense. Dude, I have so many Stanleys. I have one. I have this one. This one's hilarious. I have two. I have water bottles around me. I just don't use them. I have this one. I literally just drink out of the most random stuff. You know, I drank out a bowl the other day because my anyway, all right. Let's see. Every trader hits the bottle at some point. See, this is what you got to do. Saga. Don't know anything about Saga. Shout out to you, Mina. Thanks for joining in. I will warn you guys, we are getting towards the end of the stream here, so I'm probably not going to be doing too much more technical analysis. Just hanging out, chit-chatting with you guys for a little bit before we go ahead and wrap it up. And maybe I need to go eat or something again. I'm not feeling too hot. Not feeling too hot, but not feeling too cold either. How much water is it? Send me some, please. Dude, I got water for days. I drink water all day long. You don't understand. Because I feel terrible when I don't drink water. Like, I think I've conditioned my body to want like a gallon to 2 gallons of water a day. Because if I don't drink that much during the day, I sweat throughout. Like, I sweat all night and I have nightmares. It's the worst thing ever. What do you think about Bitcoin Cash? I like it. I don't love it. It's just, it's a player. It's necessary, but it's just, you know. I appreciate your videos. Helped me mentally during my last few weeks. Hope you feel better. I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. And I'm fine. I'm fine, guys. Honestly, just got a lot. You know, got the big news coming soon, so I've been a little stressed about that and just kind of getting that going. But what can you do? You drink water. Oh. I get it. Okay, I get it. It makes sense. That's a good question. Someone said, how does Ethereum look with the Elliot's wave? I don't know. Let's go look. That's a great question. We can go band for band. Anybody listen to Central C's new album? I know that's a bit of a spin here, but I really like it. All right, let's see. Not bad, honestly. I don't really like that. That's a bit of a reach here on the daily. I would say that's a technically speaking, yeah, that's the 5-wave for me. That's the 5-wave I'm seeing. ABC 1, 2, 3. So this is having us plotted on a 4. That's what I would see. So yeah, I saw that as well. So I saw that 5. But then obviously it wouldn't make sense. Yeah, we're in a bit of a weird spot here on the Elliots. Just because we're in a consolidation. Like the trend right now isn't really defined, right? We're in a very sideways moment right now. So this is just going to keep readjusting. We're going to need to see a much more obvious break in trend sometime to actually understand where it's at. But what I will say is everything that is printed right now is showing that it could still have room to run, right? That's a good sign. I don't think I agree that this was wave 4 and this was 5 on this macro 1-2. I don't think I agree. Obviously, that is how it's laid out right now. I don't think that's how that's going to play out. So we'll see. I'll update you once we have a little more clarity here because this is a little unclear. All right. Yeah, I'd probably do that. Need that. Make sure your potassium levels are on point. Yeah, they're probably not because I just smash water. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, maybe so. Merry Christmas, Hack. Shout out to you. Our newest community gainer over in the school. I know who you are. Shout out to you. Anything else interesting going on today? Obviously, we got the ETH news. Let's go look at the news. Crypto news. Golly. My word. Yo, did y'all hear this? That's crazy news, right? Manchester court sentences 7 for kidnapping and 124,000 crypto extortion. I mean, imagine going to prison over $100,000. Like, imagine. It's nuts, bro. Victim was confronted at his home by a man demanding crypto. Fearing for his life, he transferred money to gang member Scott Armstrong. Later that month, David Pavey and another man returned, this time armed with a knife, and forced him to hand it. That's crazy. Yeah, the U.S., that's not how that would have went. And forced him to hand over more funds. The victim complied, hoping the harassment would stop. He's tied up, beaten. Jeez. To a house, place a bag over his head. My word. I mean, okay, but if people are showing up to your house and taking money from you and threatening your life, like, why are you still just in the same house with no protection? Kind of crazy. My word. It's honestly nuts. Like, stuff like this happens more frequently than you recognize. Like, there are people in the YouTube space that you probably watch who have either been threatened for crypto or like have gone through stuff like this. Like, you have to be on your P's and Q's these days. Like, being a crypto YouTuber or influencer of any sort, it's like dangerous. It's a little dangerous. Like, you can. That's why I don't keep any crypto. Like, the good part about it is, like, someone like myself, when I'm walking, like, on my phone, there's no crypto on my phone. Like, you can't just get it, you know? So, like, it might piss people off because they would be mad. But it's like, as a crypto YouTuber, you can't just have a phone with crypto on you. You know, there was this one kid I was watching the other day, and he's like kind of one of those POV, you're an 18-year-old in Dubai or something. And he was like, you know, like, that's one of the luxuries, because he was going through like TSA or something like that, and one of his friends got stopped over like because his watch was expensive, or he had like a bunch of watches on him. And the YouTuber, like, he's like 18 or 19. He was like, see, to the camera, he's like, see, this is why it's nice to have crypto, because I have $1 million worth of crypto on my phone right now. And they didn't stop me, but they stopped him over watches. And I commented, I was like, hey, like, don't do that. Like, don't tell people that. Like, don't say things like that ever. Like, and don't keep that much crypto on you. Like, don't carry it on your phone. It's stupid. Because, dude, people always say, well, you know, if someone steals my phone, they can't get access to my crypto. It's like, that's not what they're going to do. Like, if they want $1 million, they're going to kidnap you and make you take their crypto and send it to them. It's not as simple as, oh, they can't get it. And then you trying to get it back, you might. Good luck. You might if they send it to a centralized exchange. So, yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, that's crazy news. Wow. Scary stuff right there. Scary stuff. Don't carry your crypto on you. Keep it in a bank or something like that. And just, wow. I feel like nuts, dude. How much do I bench? I don't know. Not a lot. I'm not a very strong guy. I'm not going to lie. Oh, well, I'm not strong when it comes to weightlifting. And that was the thing. Like whenever I was fighting and stuff, I didn't really have to be strong, you know. But like now that I don't fight anymore, it's kind of like I'm like, damn, like I gotta be impressive with something physically. But I mean, I'm not weak, but I'm definitely not a bodybuilder to say the least. What do you think about XRP? I didn't talk about XRP today, did I? Let me go look. I need glasses. All right, here we go. Nope, not that one. XRP is just still in the same spot. I've told you all pretty consistently. The strategy for XRP remains the same. Wait. Just, I'm going to buy when it's at this line or lower. I'm going to buy more if it's in this green box, and I'm just going to wait. And that's all I'm going to do. Simple. If it loses the red zone, if it loses this red zone right here, that will be a little bit concerning, but we've not there yet, so I'm not going to just speculate. For XRP, my strategy is simple. Buy it here a little bit, buy more in this green box, and just wait. Just like I did with Pepe, just like what I did with ETH. I'm just going to do the same thing. It really never fails, honestly. There's like 80-90% of the time it works, so I'm just going to not do anything. Okay, we are getting spam botted. Give me a second. Let me try not to ban the wrong people. This is going to take me a second to ban all these guys. Give me a sec. Sorry about this, guys. Very annoying. HTR. Let me go ban that word from the chat. 1 second. I just don't understand who thinks this is a good way to promote things. What was it? XT what? X. Wait, what? Give me 1 sec. Moon at moon underscore on underscore ETH. My word, dude. My question is like, who thinks this is the way that you promote something? Like, no one's gonna go buy your shitty meme coin because you spammed it all over a live stream. So irritating, dude. No one cares about your little shit scam coin. Sorry, it gets under my skin. Hold on. At moon underscore ETH. Let me ban that too. At moon underscore ETH. We're just gonna ban that and ban all of you guys. GG. See ya. All right, let's see if that works. And moderators, please try to just do your thing. There's not much. You kind of gotta wait them out. But that's not brute force marketing. This is being annoying. Like, there's no way it works. Yeah, all of those are fake. Like, all those people doing that is just bots. They pay and they just send it here. So someone had to go, was watching the stream, click the stream, copy the link, go to their little scammy website, put the stream link in, then type out the messages they want to send and press submit. Like, no, ban them. Just ban them. Hopefully I didn't ban anyone on accident. Okay. I'm kind of feeling better. I kind of just want to hang out. Y'all want to hang out and chat for a little while or no? Yeah, we're just hanging out, Pickle Rick. I ain't gonna lie. Put on some tunes or no? Y'all want to just chill? I'm down for that. I'm probably not going to say anything very valuable for the next, like, however long we're on here. So if you're rewatching this, probably a decent time to click off. All the value was in the first 30 minutes of the video. Now we're just going to hang out with the chat. Kind of see what's going on. How are you feeling about Shiba Inu? Shiba Inu. That sounded creepy. It is looking okay. It's looking all right. I'm kind of the same with Sui. So you remember how when we were talking about Sui, I told you when they break from these ascending levels of support, I like them to get away from the support level before I start doing anything. I'm kind of in the same place. Like, I don't imagine SHIB's just going to go straight up. It could. I just don't think it will. Generally, the way this goes is it allows that line to get away from it for a while, to start invalidating the relationship. You know, break up, block, and don't text them late at night, right? And then you give it that space, and then it has room to move. So for SHIB, it's like, okay, but I'm just waiting a little bit longer because I want to see a little bit more separation, right? They're still kind of on Instagram DMs and stuff right now. I don't like that. I want them to get a little bit more further away from each other. Oh, shoot. Ryan, what did you say? My bad, homie. I got straight to blocking people. I feel like, oh, this is Ryan from the Weekly Crypto Roundtable, I think, right? I see the logo. Shout out to you. My bad. Do you hold everything what you promote? I mean, do you care much before you agree on a partnership offer? I feel like that's a bit of a weird question to ask. I obviously care about what I promote on my channel. Everything that I invest into or everything that I've promoted on here, I either own or hold, or I told you I don't. Right? Like, hey, I don't hold it. I think it's a great product. It's not a good fit for me, et cetera, et cetera. Right? So, of course, of course. Look, I made mistakes in the past. Don't get me wrong. Like, I've promoted projects that were probably too risky, like in 2022, and then we're in a bear market, so it's even more risky. But I've learned a lot of my lessons, right? I've learned a lot of lessons, and I've progressed from that, and hopefully I serve you guys well. I still do sponsorships and stuff like that, right? Like I worked with AdRise the other day, who's an AI marketing agency. iYield, that's another company I'm partnered with. There's one called Prop W, which is a prop trading firm. I'm doing a little partnership with them. So I still do partnerships. I think monetizing something that I work so hard on is nothing wrong with it. You just got to be smart, right? You can't be out here just shilling shit coins all day long. Eventually, your community is not going to trust you anymore. And I hope you guys still have that trust in me. So yeah, my bad, Ryan. That was probably me. What do you think of Polkadot? I don't think much about it. I like it. I don't love it. This is kind of where I'm at. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yep. Stop looking at the percentages and start looking at the structure. Don't look at the percentage gain. Look at the structure. This is what's important. The trend break. That's a breakout. What were you going to trade it to? Pickle Rick says, man, yesterday I was one click away from trading my ETH. Kind of mixed feelings on it right now. What were you going to... Ooh, I didn't mean to do that. What are you going to trade it to? Makes sense. I think a lot of people who follow you also follow Mr. Larry, and that's why we asked about XCN and XY. He told us about it on his WAP. Oh, got you. Yeah. Shout out Larry, by the way. I haven't talked to Larry. I think I was supposed to. I think Larry's going to call me at some point tomorrow. We got to chat about something. I haven't talked to Larry in about probably like a week. I need to talk to him. I've been so busy. But shout out to Larry. I was going to trade Polkadot to XRP. Yeah, I was. Like, I'd be a full-fledged liar if I said I wasn't at one point. I mean, dude, I literally used to, like, I used to be one of the influencers who, like, I talk shit about these days because I learned from it. Like, I used to clickbait every single title. I used to have clickbait fucking these crazy ass thumbnails, right? Like, I used to do that. I feel like I've always been diligent with the companies that I partnered with, but I didn't have like a big system like I have now, right? So like I took risks, like I did things that probably didn't need to do, right? Like, and so now I look back on that time and I thought I had to, like I used to look at YouTube and think, well, if I want to compete with all these other YouTubers, I have to freaking like I have to clickbait and I have to use these bullshit thumbnails. Like I used to have to, I thought I had to. And then you know what? One day I woke up like right after I got married. And I was like, you know what? I just want to be who I want to be. I just want to do what I want to do. Honestly, like I don't want to do this shit. I needed to make new thumbnails and I was sitting there about to make a thumbnail and I was about to do this stupid little face. And I was like, you know what? Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I want to do what I want to do. And that's why you notice, like, my titles are kind of stupid these days. Like, they're not stupid, but they're just straight to the point. I'm going to tell you exactly what we're talking about. Like, look at this one. Altcoins pump as Ethereum breaks out. That's what we're talking about today. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, it's just, there's just that. No, what's up? No disrespect, but how can you make trades without knowing what's going on in the world in regards to tariffs coming this weekend? 25% possible. Well, one thing, I'm not trading right now. I'm just buying things. There's a difference between leverage trading. I'm not even I mean, technically it is spot trading, but I'm not trading actively right now because I have been busy with the school. Two, I've just not had time to look at it. I've not had time to get super deep into it. Anyway, so yeah, so I don't know what I was talking about. Yeah, so that's kind of why I don't. You can't fault these YouTubers to some degree. If they're promoting scams, fault them all you want. But a lot of them just haven't opened their eyes up to it yet. And I'm not better than them. That's their prerogative. That's what they do. I own an influencer relations agency. I work with many YouTubers who do the exact same things I don't like, right? But you can't give it's just the game that YouTubers have to play. And a lot of the times in your brain, it's scary to take that risk. Like, well, I don't want to stop clickbaiting because what if I get less views and then sponsors pay me less and I make less money? And it's understandable, right? They have businesses, they have families to feed, they have teams to pay. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. But don't, I think I was talking to Gabriel is the one who commented on it. Like, I don't want you to think I'm perfect, dude. I've made some dumbass mistakes. So you just got to learn from them and keep doing what you're doing. Anyway, I don't know what that was. Anyway. Shout out to Connor, my least favorite redhead. My least favorite best friend, redhead. I want to join your school and make real money in the space. I turned $400 into $5K in a week by myself. Shout out to you then. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff going on in the school, and if it's not for you, they'll give you your money back. No problem. No problem. That's the confidence we have, right? Because we've seen so much results. We've seen so many people do well in the school that we're like, yeah, if you don't like it, just take your money back and check out another place. No problem. In your opinion, what do you think? When do you think? I saw something about Moses earlier. I need to go look. In your opinion, when do you think this bull run would end? I don't know. The reason I'm struggling with this bull run is because this bull run is being led by institutions, and institutions don't sell like retail investors sell. So it's kind of hard for me. There's a hope. I think maybe it's just a hope and nothing more than that in the back of my head that we're going to see this year very stable, and maybe we don't see a real bear market. Like, if this isn't going to be a real bull market because retail's not in, maybe we don't see a real bear market that's super volatile. That's just a hope. I don't think that's realistic because this asset class is still so new. I don't know, to be honest with you. It's very hard to tell. I really can't tell, to be honest. All right. When do you decide to cut your losses on investment, or will you hold until you can make your money? It's not like a percentage thing. It's really just like, what was my goal, right? So if I bought Solana because I thought Solana could hit $500 because of X, Y, and Z, as long as the X, Y, and Z are still in place, I still think Solana can go to $500, even if it pulls back 50%, right? Percentage changes in prices don't kind of even really matter to me all that much, quite frankly, because the core value is typically separated from the price. And what I mean by that is Solana is so good because the ecosystem is so good. So if Solana's price goes down 20%, but nothing happens with the ecosystem that's negative, or maybe even if the ecosystem grows, why would I sell it, right? Because my reason for investing is I'm looking for value. I'm looking for things that I think are either more valuable than they're worth now or going to be more valuable in the future than they are now. So that's when I buy it. So price impact doesn't make a difference. Now, if it falls 99%, that's typically a reason. So I typically will sell based off of the reason, much less the price. And the reason typically needs to be something changed fundamentally about what I invested in that cancels out my thesis for investing. So for example, if Solana again comes out and says, hey, we actually don't want to be a layer one blockchain, we want to go all in on NFTs, I'd probably sell the majority of it because I don't fundamentally as an investor align with that roadmap, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Oh, Ryan. Yeah, there may be certain words. I have random words that are blocked. Maybe try to reword it a little bit. I think we won't have an altcoin season until we get buys from nations and institutions. People don't want to push their Bitcoin money into alts yet, or maybe we will. Yeah, I would agree. I think institutions would be the ones that trigger it because I think we're in an institution cycle. Yo, Tyler, love the school. What's your opinion on Nova Labs and HNT lawsuit? I don't know about that. Let's see. Let's tell Grok to do it. Can someone tell Elon to give me my Twitter back? It's been a week and I'm bored. Tell me about the Nova Labs and okay. Oh, that's the one with Helium. Duh. Yeah, I literally forget that's what Helium's ticker symbol is. Okay, which accused Nova Labs of selling unregistered securities, blah, blah, blah. No one gives a shit. The SEC's stupid. The SEC's lawsuit claims that Nova Labs sold 3 tokens, HNT, Mobile, and IoT, as unregistered securities, which they probably did. I wouldn't really be concerned by this. I think the SEC's crypto task force is now literally tasked with making the regulatory landscape much clearer and easier to understand. And I would assume that they would recognize that the previous landscape was so unclear that many companies fell victim to the lacking of clarity, and much less the fact that they were criminals or doing something criminal. And so, to me, I'm not particularly even concerned about any SEC lawsuits going forward. I think February will be very bullish, but then again, I can see everything slowly going down and just being stable. Yeah, me too. I'm kind of at a balance. I'm still leaning towards the fact that this year may be a little bit boring, but if institutions really start picking it up even more than they are now, yeah, I can see this. The way I'm kind of seeing it right now is that if this isn't the beginning of some sort of institution-based excitement around altcoins, I just don't know what will be. And I would expect not that much to happen. Because remember, May is when it gets ugly. We have about 3 months until then. February, March, April. February, March, April. Yeah, 3/4. So, like, after May, things get a little ugly every single time almost. And so because of that, to me, it's like, yeah, we're going to need something to happen pretty soon if we're going to trigger something for the altcoins. If not, we're probably going to have maybe even a boring half of a year or something like that. Is there a monthly average ROI? Yeah. Yeah, like you can see it. Like March historically. Wait, is this accurate? How something's not right about that. I feel like it should be the shorter term time frames. I haven't looked at this before, but this is an interesting metric. Like, January, February look a little crappy. March, April, you usually get a pickup. Then you get a boring summer. Starts to pick up a little bit September, October. November, December, like, okay. And then so like, yeah, we got like 3 months for something to shake. And if nothing shakes, I think we're gonna be a little boring this year. Yeah, literally. Like, and that's the thing. That's why I'm not getting too far ahead of it, right? Like, although what we're seeing today from ETH feels good, I'm not getting too far ahead of myself because, quite frankly, this could literally just be another thing, right? This could be another thing. I mean, look at what's going to happen with ETH here. I mean, look at all this resistance, 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 right? So it's not going to be easy, and ETH is going to have quite a battle to try to get out of this. It's going to have quite a battle to try to get out of this, but I do think that if we can see this battle success when ETH start trying to push upwards, yeah, I think we may see ETH start gaining some traction here. So that's why I took a little bit of a gamble on it this morning. Bought a little bit. Tyler, if you start DCA today in 2 to 3 coins with a plan to DCA for 5 years, what would it be? Bitcoin first. 5 years is a long time, homie. Bitcoin first, Ethereum second. No. Today, maximize returns. I'm balancing between ETH and Solana. DCA, which means you're going to get some decent. The DCAing and the volatility is actually better. Solana has volatility, more volatility, so there's going to be more moments where it falls bigger and you can get better buying opportunities. Probably Bitcoin, Solana, and I've been riding Ondo for like a week now, so let's just throw Ondo in there. But maybe Sui, maybe Sui is probably the more reasonable thing to do because it's going to have its first full cycle coming up here, so should be interesting. Dump this weekend, Sunday and Monday, Singapore time, and then rallies next week. I loaded up on ETH and Aave and riding the way into Swiftcoin. Jan was terrible, took profits mid-Jan. Nice. All right. Google March 1 tariffs. Okay. I kind of want to put some tunes on. How do I wonder if there's a way to do it. No, you have to share a tab. That sucks. All right, let's see. March present. Maybe that's ugly. There we go. Let's look at it. I don't know what's going on there. You know what? Let's do this. Where you at? Where are you at? There you are. So tariff against Canada and Mexico set to begin on March 1st, 2025. These tariffs are in response to demands for these countries to take a stronger action against illegal immigration and the flow of opioid and fentanyl to the United States. Tariff rate, although specifics were not finalized, Trump has consistently mentioned a 25% tariff on imports from these countries. However, there's an indication the tariff situation was fluid. The tariffs include a process for Canada and Mexico to seek exemptions for certain imports. However, these exemptions are expected to be few and far between, suggesting a stringent application. My word. Could disrupt nearly $1.6 trillion in annual trade across North America. These implementations would essentially tear up 30-year free trade system, affecting industries like automotive manufacturing, where parts cross-border multiple times before assembly. There's been significant concern expressed by various stakeholders, including industry groups. For instance, has warned, show me concern, negotiation and response. The deadline for it's probably not going to happen, if I had to guess. Yeah, I would assume this is just a threat and that it's not going to happen. But obviously, again, I'm not 1,000,000%. Obviously, no one knows. But typically what I've come to notice is threats like this usually just turn into some sort of solution. I mean, they know who they're messing with, right? Like, he'll do it. He'll actually do this shit if they don't do anything. But Canada will probably be all right. Mexico, on the other hand, yeah, I don't know. That's interesting, though. Wonder how that impacts. How does that? I actually don't know. Tariffs on electronic goods, especially from China. Okay. Mining hardware would likely increase the cost of setting up or expanding mining operations, which could raise mining costs, potentially squeezing profit margins for miners and affect overall hash rate. That's interesting. Okay, I never would have thought of that. Economic uncertainty is the one that I figured. Volatility, regulatory environment, none of that really matters. Trump's administration has shown a mixed approach to. No, I'm not worried about that either. Stablecoins. Well, it seems like there could be some sort of impact in terms of just general mining rigs, and just mining costs. Probably nothing too substantial. So it doesn't seem like this is going to be a major impact on crypto directly. It seems it's more indirect, in the sense that it'll start to impact the economy, and what happens obviously in the economy impacts crypto from a broader perspective. But I don't actually think this is like a huge thing for the world of crypto, to be honest. That is a good point. That could impact just the everyday person. What are some of the other impacts of tariffs on the economy? That's not how you spell tariffs. Now that I think about it, it knows what I'm talking about though. Increased price for goods, right? May contribute to inflation by increasing the cost of imported goods, which can then be rippled through to the other sectors, raising prices across the board. Job impacts. Job losses in import-dependent industries. That's a good point as well. Reduced consumer choices. Impacts on small businesses, import goods, right? Other countries that... So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty impactful. Pretty impactful. I think the biggest thing is obviously the increased prices for goods and inflation. And this is, again, this is where I will give Jerome Powell a little bit of credit, even though he's a lizard person, is like, you don't know what Trump's going to do, and you don't know what's going to happen as a result of what Trump does, right? So if Trump goes in and he implements these tariffs and they do start causing prices to increase to some degree, right? Well, what if Jerome Powell would have lowered rates yesterday, right? Or day before yesterday, I don't remember. Well, then obviously we'd have been in a weird spot, because hey, now we're in a bit of a pickle. Now they're going to have to go back on what they said, and so it makes a lot of sense as to why when you get these FOMC meetings, the Fed is just coming in and just not doing much right now, because they want to see what's going to happen, and then they want to see what happens as a result of what happens, and then they'll decide what they're going to do. And that's a big part as to why, again, I still think that this year may be a little bit boring, because there is so much we'll just wait and see going on. But the good part is, once things do seem like they're going in a certain direction, this market does typically price those things in advance, and so it may not be in a whole year, it may not even be 6 months, but it does feel as if things are just kind of in a pause moment right now, and we're just gonna have to wait and find out, But what I do know is that institutions are buying like crazy. And when they buy like crazy, you got to pay attention. And so maybe I'm wrong on that, or maybe they're just going to utilize this little boring period to load up before the next non-boring period comes, which could be bullish, right? And so it's just a bit of a waiting game, just kind of a wait, watch, and see type of game right now. And that's exactly what I think the best course of action here is right now. So interesting stuff though. All right, guys. Well, look, the headache's starting to get pretty bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I'd like to get a video done for you all, but I am struggling a little bit here. I don't know why my head hurts so bad. It's like right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this bad boy on up. Again, I want to make a video later today talking about more of the economic side of things. But maybe I'll kind of mix it in with what's going on with these as well. Just stay tuned. In a couple of hours, we'll probably go ahead and drop a live video. If the headache gets worse, I may not drop a vid today, maybe tomorrow. But do stay tuned for that. Obviously, as I mentioned before, a little bit of shameless shilling here. Don't forget, you have just a little over 9 days left to go get some of these bonuses here on BitUnix. It is linked in the description below. You can get 20% cash back on up to $1,000 deposits, meaning if you deposit $1,000, they'll give you $200 back today to start trading with. So feel free to go check that out. Link in the description below. And then lastly, again, if you do want to see all that stuff that I've showed you today, some of the things that I'm buying, some of my thoughts and much more, you can check out the school where you'll get, again, all that stuff in terms of, what I'm buying, but also live streams, workshops, signals, and much more to help you create your strategies and generate your gains. Because again, the best part about it is you get your money back no matter what. And it starts as little as $5 a month if you do want to check that out. So that's available down there. You can see it right here. These are all the different options that you have. And we have currently right under 1,250 members. So feel free to come join in on the school because we do have some big news coming soon and you won't regret it. And so with that in mind, of course, I hope you guys did enjoy the stream. I do like to stay on a little bit longer, but I need to go get a little rest, I think. So I'll see you all very soon in the next one. And I hope you guys did enjoy. Peace out, everybody.